All right, today we're jumping right into one of the most, just one of the most powerful scenes in the entire Bible. We're talking about a glimpse into pure, unfiltered worship happening right at the very throne of heaven. This vision is just packed with so much mystery and meaning, so let's get right into it.
Okay, so this passage from Revelation, it is just loaded with symbolism, right? It's this incredible, mysterious vision that kind of pulls back the curtain on eternity itself. So you've got to be asking, what does all this even mean? Well, that's what we're here for. Let's decode this thing together, piece by piece.
All right, first up, we've got a bit of a mystery to solve. Who are these figures, the 4 and 20 elders? Who are they really? And what in the world do they represent? You know, in the Bible, numbers are almost never just numbers. They're packed with meaning, and 24 is a big one. It's not some random head count, not at all. It's a number that just screams completeness and perfect unity.
So who are they? Well, the general understanding is that these 24 elders represent the redeemed people of God. We're talking all believers from all of time. They're the saints, you could say, the ones Jesus made into kings and priests. They're basically a symbol for the entire church, gathered together in worship.
And here's where that number 24 gets really cool. It's like a beautiful piece of biblical math. You take the 12 tribes of Israel, that's God's people from the Old Covenant, before Jesus, and you add the 12 apostles of the Lamb from the New Covenant after Jesus. Put them together? 12 plus 12 is 24. It's this perfect symbol of one complete, unified family of God, the church, pulling in believers from all of history. Okay, so we've got a pretty good idea of who the elders are, but now let's look at what they're doing. Because their actions, they are so dramatic, so full of meaning. They really get to the very heart of what worship is all about.
It's really a two-part act. First, they fall down. That's the ultimate posture of humility, right? It's a physical way of saying, you are in charge. Then they do something incredible. They cast their crowns. This is them surrendering everything they are, everything they've ever achieved, right there before the throne.
So what's the deal with these crowns? Well, they're not just fancy headwear. They represent all the rewards, the honor, the spiritual authority that believers get. But here's the absolute key. Every single bit of it is a gift, given by God's grace.
This whole act, it just perfectly captures the mindset of worship. It's basically them shouting without words, all the glory belongs to God and God alone. It reminds me of what John the Baptist said, right? He must increase, but I must decrease. That's what this looks like.
Think about it. By throwing down their crowns, the elders are saying, every single victory I've had, every achievement on my resume, it all came from God. It's this powerful admission that God's grace isn't just a nice little bonus. It's everything. It's totally and completely sufficient.
When you boil it all down, what we're seeing here is a picture of true discipleship. It's about laying all of it, everything we are, everything we have, even everything we hope to become, right there at the feet of Jesus.
And now we get to the climax of the whole scene. It's the words that just erupt from these elders. It's this powerful, thunderous declaration that finally explains the why. Why are they doing all this?
They shout out, "You are worthy, O Lord." And you have to understand, this isn't something they're saying because they're scared or because they have to. No, this comes from a deep, complete understanding of who Jesus is and everything he accomplished on the cross. So what exactly is he worthy to receive? Well, the elders spell it out. They list 3 things. First up is glory. That's the visible expression of God's perfect nature. Then there's honor, which is the reverence he gets from people who absolutely love him. And finally, power, his undeniable right to rule over all of creation because he redeemed it.
But that kind of makes you wonder, right? What is all this incredible worthiness based on? Why him and nobody else? Well, the passage gives us 2 rock-solid, unshakable reasons. It all comes down to who he is. First, he's the creator. The verse is crystal clear. He created all things. And second, he's the redeemer. See, he didn't just make the world and walk away. He saved it too.
But it doesn't stop there. The very last line of this verse, man, it just blows the whole thing wide open. It gives us this absolutely stunning conclusion about the purpose of, everything. This final phrase, honestly, it might be one of the most profound statements in the entire Bible. It tells us God's ultimate motivation. It says that everything, and I mean everything, from a single atom to the biggest galaxy you can imagine, was created for thy pleasure.
Now, hold on.
We need to be really clear about what pleasure means here. This is not about God needing to be entertained, okay? The word is pointing to his divine desire, his deep delight in having a real relationship, a real fellowship with the things he made, especially with us.
And get this is so cool. In just a couple of words, this verse basically sums up the entire story of the Bible. When it says things were created, that's pointing to the past, right? God's original plan in Genesis. But when it says they are, that's the present tense. That's talking about the new life, the new creation that we can have right now because of Jesus.
And that brings us to the ultimate bottom line. The reason anything exists at all, the reason you and I exist, is this simple, profound truth. We were created by him, and we exist for him. Our whole purpose is to reflect his glory and just enjoy his love forever.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of everything we've decoded here. The 24 elders, they represent the whole unified church. Casting crowns, that's all about total surrender and depending on grace. Why is Jesus worthy? Because he's both creator and redeemer. And what's the purpose of everything? A loving relationship with God. Simple as that.
And this is so important to get. This heavenly scene, this vision of worship, it's not just some future event we're waiting for. It's a spiritual reality for the church right now. This posture of surrender, of adoration, it's something we can step into today.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. If this vision is real, if every crown we could ever earn, every honor, every single achievement is ultimately meant to be laid at God's feet, then what does that do to our modern ideas of success? How does that change the way we live and work and strive today? That's a big one to think about. Thanks for diving into this with me.